Welcome back to 94 Feet, ladies and gentlemen. Kade Cameron, Danny Stipanovich, as usual. And of course, NBA season is finally over. Obviously, the Warriors won the NBA Finals, but of course, that doesn't mean that the NBA news stops here. We got the NBA draft coming up this Thursday. And Danny, I got to say, I think, in my opinion, this is a kind of underwhelming draft, in my opinion.
All right, well, we'll start with this. I don't know about underwhelming. I feel like there's four players kind of locked in to go in those first four spots. We'll get into who we think is going to go where, but after the four, um, there's about 10 more players who you could maybe they'll fill out to be solid role players in the NBA, and then you're just shooting darts. It usually is like this in the NBA, but I would say there's four solid players, and the rest, maybe next 10 it's a toss up.
Yeah, no, I
Is
agree. I
that fair to
think
say?
Yeah, and even then, out of the four top players that I kind of see out of this year's draft, even then, I feel like there's a possibility that some of them aren't going to really live up to their expectations until later on in their careers. Like I mean, one guy that I don't want to necessarily say that he's going to be bad in the NBA, but you look at a guy like Chet Holmgren. I
Yeah.
think he's a guy that I think a lot of people have a lot of their eyes on. But at the end of the day, I think he's a guy that realistically, if you look at the top four picks of the draft, maybe Oklahoma City is the one team where you could really see him being a good fit. But at the end of you can actually see him with quick success. But outside of that, I think he's a guy that I don't see developing until a little bit later on in his career.
All right. Well, I think I disagree with you. I totally understand, the question marks around Chet. I think the upside is just a little too much for you not to take him in the top four. But if he flames out and he ends up becoming a Kristaps Porzingis, um, you know, maybe is that even like a bust if he ends up becoming a Kristaps?
I I gotta say yes, just because the way that he's been like pretty much like just his image over the past few years, pretty much since high school at Gonzaga. I mean, he's been looked at as this next big star. Like I mean, I feel like there wasn't really this much hype around a guy, and at the high school and college level for a while. I mean, not necessarily going way back. Like I think Zion was the last guy that really got that much attention coming out of high school and whatnot. But I think if he comes into the league and he starts playing like somebody like Kristaps Porzingis, I wouldn't necessarily say that he wouldn't be a bad player on the court. I just think that, yeah, I think you look at that, his potential kind of fell through and that he is going to be a bust.
So before we get into our mock draft, Cade, you got any big takeaways heading into this draft?
Yeah. No, honestly, nothing too crazy really stands out, Like again, as I mentioned, going back to Zion, like I remember how New York Knicks fans were ecstatic about trying to get that first pick, and then they were heartbroken when it didn't come through. You know what I mean? And like I said, you look at this year's draft, and granted, I mean, you have teams that like Orlando. I mean, they haven't seen much potential over the past few years, but they've at least had a playoff run. I mean, same thing with Oklahoma City. They were dominant in the early 2010s. They haven't seen anything recently, but I think the fans are pretty content with knowing that they're going to be going through a rebuild. You look at the Houston Rockets, same situation. I mean, I feel like that was part of what made the NBA draft so electric over the past few years is having those fan bases that were really excited about being that first overall pick. And recently, or at least going into this draft, I feel like that's not necessarily the case, and I personally think that's pretty much because of the way that the draft is set up, the way with the players that are involved this year. At least that's my kind of big takeaway from it.
Yeah, I mean, we saw players not really tanking for a Zion this year. Like you said, there's not really that Zion, but there's still, I think, some solid players that have tons of potential. But my biggest takeaway heading into this draft is I think there's a lot of trades going to go down. We're not going to bore the viewers and go through a 30 pick mock draft. We're only doing our top 10 picks. But even in these top 10 picks, Kate, I think I've only predicted one trade, but I think we could see up to 3-4 trades in the top 10 this year. There's half of the teams are on win now mode. The Kings, they're on the 4 pick. They just traded for Sabonis. I don't think they really want to develop a player. I mean, they haven't made the playoffs in like 16 years. I think they want to win now. You look at the Pacers, they're in tons of trade talks. Turner, Brogdon, they're in trade team. Maybe they're not win now, maybe not. And then Portland, we don't know what they're doing. Are they going to try and win now with a new GM in town? It's his first year. Is he going to want to ship out Damian Lillard in his first year, or is he going to want to try and trade that number 5 pick for some veterans? And then New Orleans, they got the 8th pick. I think they're going to try and trade that pick as well because they got Zion coming back, CJ McCollum, and BI, like they're in win now mode. So I see one of these teams, and we could even say Washington, another win now team who, if Beal decides to re-sign there, they're gonna want to bring in someone else with Beal and KP. Maybe they ship that 10 pick for a Clint Capella, Gobert, something like that. So I think you're gonna want to tune into the draft. I think it could get crazy. What do you think about that, Cade?
Yeah, no, I think without a doubt, if trades are involved, it's going to be a much different story. I think this draft would become very interesting, and we already kind of saw that happening with Dallas, obviously trading for Christian Wood, which, as you mentioned to me over Twitter, was, I mean, that was a steal for Dallas. They're getting a guy like Christian Wood, who's going to be I think, good fit for that team, and they're also losing the 26th overall and 2 players that had absolutely really no place on that roster anyway. So, I
Yeah,
mean,
that
like I
was
said,
robbery. Well,
yeah,
I
we've
don't know.
already
I don't
seen
know
it.
what Houston's doing, man.
Exactly. And I mean, we've already seen it there. The fact that we've already started to see these trades, and I think it's going to keep happening. Also, we got to shout out Jay, Zach. Happy to have you guys back. Jay, as much as I'd love to be a lottery pick, I don't think that's happening this year. I think I got to wait one more year. But hey, who knows? Maybe. Actually, shoot, I got a funny story for y'all real quick. So I was at a wedding over the weekend, and my cousin, I guess my dad is close with a, Pac-12 lawyer for some reason. I don't know why. And my cousin had to reach out for him for some reason. And my cousin very nonchalantly says to me, like, "Yay, like, just as a heads up, I was trying to get you as a free agent in the NBA, but things didn't work out." I'm like, damn, that would have been kind of
Hey,
fun, get it.
you might find a spot on the Portland Trailblazers or the Thunder, Cade. I could see
Exactly.
you
Hey,
running the floor there.
I was gonna say, give me a 10-day contract. I'll be set. I just got to get that 10 days, and after the 10 days, I'm getting a full max extension. But
Also, Jay, why don't you just let it settle in a little bit? Chill with the stream.
yeah, no,
Enjoy
hey,
it
chill
for a
with
little.
us for a
Why
little
you
bit.
gonna take it and go to sleep, man? You gotta enjoy it for a little bit.
Exactly. Hey, gotta relax. Hey, enjoy it with us. We wanna keep seeing you in the comments right there. But all right, you want to go into the mock draft now?
Let's do it.
All right, I'll let you start off. Danny, who you look as the first overall in Thursday draft going to Orlando.
All right, looking at Orlando right now. I think number one. I don't think they're going Chet. I think they're going Bankero out of Duke. I really think this is the best option for the Magic. If you look at Bankero, he could be a number one option in the NBA. Sorry, I'm trying to focus. I gotta look away from the chat. But I'ma say if you need a Carmelo Anthony like score, go get a bucket. Bankero could be that guy. The Magic, they got a lot of solid young players. Cole Anthony, Wendell Carter, Wagner was a nice surprise. Jalen Suggs, but if you look at their top 2 players right now, Cole Anthony, Jalen Suggs, they really can't score. They're pretty inefficient from the field, and Bankero can come in as a number one and maybe give you 17 points per game and give you an efficient number one option. Okay, what do you think?
You know, the way I was looking at this at first, I was leaning more toward Jabari Smith. I thought he'd be a little bit more of a well-rounded guy for Orlando, the Orlando Magic. You make some great points. I mean, Cole Anthony is a young and rising player that I think has a lot of potential in the future. And I think realistically, I think the toss-up is going to be between Smith and Blanchero. I think those are going to be the 2 guys that Orlando's looking at. And honestly, like I said, I wanted to lean towards Smith as the first overall, but looking at the stats now, and then also obviously the whole idea that Banchero was coached by Coach K, one of the most legendary coaches in basketball history. I like I said, I want to go with Smith, but I agree. I think I got to go Banchero as the first overall pick as well.
Okay. So I changed your mind or what?
Yeah, because even then, I got the stats pulled up here too. I think the one thing that would have swayed me in the opposite direction is a little more experience. If Smith had that experience, but they're both freshmen. They're both going into it with pretty much the same level of experience. But of course, you have Banchero, who's a guy who obviously was coached by Coach K. I think has played in a little bit of a more intense situation compared to a guy like Smith. So yeah, I think Banchero is going to be the guy that's going first overall as well.
Who you got going number two?
Number two, I think again I alluded to it at the very beginning when we were first talking about the draft. A Chet Holmgren is a guy that I think, like I said, I don't think he's going to really fit into the NBA the way that a lot of people are really expecting him to. But I think if you look at this Oklahoma City team, you look at the way Chet plays in his playing style, I think that he's a very solid number two pick for the Oklahoma City Thunder.
Hey, I thought I was gonna have to argue with you, Kate, because I think Chet's going number two also. 7 feet tall, 7'6" wingspan, 3.7 blocks per game. I mean, he'll give the Thunder a solid stretch five. He shot 60% from the field, 71% from the free throw line. The biggest question mark is obviously, he weighs 195, not super aggressive. But if I look back in the draft, Giannis was 196 coming into the draft. So, Chet gets some NBA training. Maybe he starts eating 5,000 calories a day. He could put on some weight. And he kind of fits into this offense, I think. They got Shai as the number one. Josh Giddey looked pretty good last year. I think with Chet, that's a solid starting five that they have. Lou Dort as on the wing. I know Lou might get traded, but with basketball being so positionless, and there's really not too many centers in the West. There's you got Jokic, but who else is really in the West? And I think Chet is going to be fine going to the Thunder at number two.
Yeah, I think that's going to be the best. I mean, you look at the first few picks, I think that's going to be the best spot for him. And hey, you know what? I might have to agree, Zach, or in J two actually, that if I mean Giannis, if you get Chet in the weight room and you actually start putting weight on him, I think you're definitely talking about a completely different situation here. And I think honestly, you might talk about um, Chet actually filling into the position that a lot of people were expecting him to. But let's hit number three, Danny. Houston Rockets, who you got as the number third overall pick for you?
Ooh, okay, so you kind of talked about him going number one, but I think Jabari Smith falls to three. He's gonna end up in Houston, and the Rockets, they're gonna play it safe. They kind of played it risky last year with Jalen Green. Not too many people were familiar with Jalen Green, but they're gonna play it safe here. Go Jabari Smith. They just traded Christian Wood last week. Jabari Smith, he's gonna 6'10". He's gonna fit in at that center role, and kind of a similar game to Christian Wood, honestly. He checks every box, probably better defender, or could be a better defender than Christian Wood. He can run the floor. He can also stretch it. He's got a pretty good pull-up game from the mid-range and from deep. I like Jabari Smith going three.
I like that. Here's the thing. I do think that Houston's going to go with the forward. I think they're going to go with the guy that kind of can do a little bit of both, kind of playing like ball handling and physicality. But you know what? I think I gotta be able to kind of switch it up on you. I'm going to go with the guy that I don't think a lot of people have going in the top three, let alone the top five. But I think he's a guy that has a possibility to actually make an impact pretty much on day one going into that Houston Rockets locker room. And I got to go with Keegan Murray. He's coming out of the Big Ten. He's coming out of a place
Ooh,
where you have teams like Michigan State, Ohio State, Indiana. I mean, larger teams, and he's coming out of a school like Iowa, which in itself has made itself a name. So I think you got to go with a guy like Keegan Murray. I think he's going to be a good fit for that Rockets team. And again, like I said, his stats, I mean, he's averaging 23, or at Iowa, he was averaging 23.5 a game. He's a scorer. He's going to get you points. And I think he's going to be a good fit for that team overall. So, yeah, I'm going Keegan Murray.
all right, I'll save my Keegan Murray take for when I think he's gonna go. But at three, okay, I like that, Cade. I like that.
Yeah, I was going to say, like I said, I feel like I don't know, like coming out of the Big Tens, I feel like a basketball conference. I feel like a lot of people forget that. I think they're kind of overshadowed by football as of now. I mean, of course, football is another thing, but like I said, they're a little bit overshadowed by football. I think basketball is definitely a sport or a conference. It's the Big Ten is a conference that has solid basketball, and I think a guy like Keegan Murray out of Iowa, he's going to show the world again what the Big Ten's all about. So yeah, I got Keegan Murray number three.
Real quick, I got to shout out Zach, saying I sound like a fullback name, but Zach, when I tried out football in middle school, and I got hit a little too hard, and I was like, "Yo, Imma just play basketball where if I get hit, it's a foul." So, football and not my thing. I like watching it, but I'm good on playing fullback.
I was gonna say he got hit a little too hard, and it still shows.
Alright, going
All
to
right.
number 4, Cade. I know you're familiar with this player who I think the Kings are gonna draft. They're in win now mode, and I see, I really do think, Banchero, Chet, and Jabari Smith are gonna go 1, 2, 3, and I think Ivy is in kind of a little teams are gonna be kinda, giddy for Ivy because the King Ivy said he doesn't wanna play for the Kings, and Ivy's projected to go number 4 in pretty much all mock drafts. So I think the Kings are gonna find a trade for him, but if they don't, because they're in win now mode, so I was struggling to find a fit for them because I know they want a wing, not, and I don't see them wanting Ivy if they draft Ivy because he's a guard. They just traded Tyrese Halliburton, so I have Ben Matherin going to the Kings if they keep the 4 pick. They need a wing player because like I said, they got De'Aaron Fox, they got Davion Mitchell. I and Matherin, Cade, you look back at that TCU game, down 3 points. I know you remember this.
Oh
He
yeah.
hits a huge three to put them up to tie the game. He's got the clutch factor. He's a leader. He led the team to the number 1 team in the country. He's probably the safest wing player in the draft. Stretch the floor, create your own shot. I'm going Ben Matherin.
Yeah, and that's another fantastic pick because that's who I got as my number 4 as well. I think the 2 best guards going into this draft are Jaden Ivey and Ben Matherin. The one thing that I like about Ben Matherin a little more than Jaden Ivey is the fact that I think you're getting a little bit more of a physical guard that's going to be willing to play a little more around the court, and actually, again, like you said, just be that one leader on the team that would bring the physicality as well. Yeah, like I said, I think he's going to be a good fit with that Sacramento Kings lineup. I feel like there's not really much to say. Ben Matherin, I think, is a solid fit for the Sacramento Kings. I would have honestly, if we're being honest here, I would have liked to see him. I think the only other fit that really would have been good for him would have been Portland. But yeah, I
Yeah,
think
I was trying to think of, trade packages, for players to get dealt to Sacramento, but I don't think Beal is gonna wanna go there. I don't think Lillard wants to go there. Jeremy Grant makes the most sense, so I was gonna try and do like a Pistons trade up 1 spot, but I don't think Jordan Ivey is that much better than someone they can get at 5. So, yeah, I couldn't think of a trade package. I'm sure we'll see one though.
exactly, no. So yeah, I like Ben Mathurin 4. But going into the 5, I didn't have Jabari Smith going number 1 or number 2 or number 3, but I think this is where he falls to. He's a guy that's too good to pass up on, especially going later on in the draft. I mean, I can't see him falling out of the top 5. So I think with the Detroit Pistons, again, you're getting a forward, you're going to be getting a physical forward that's going to be getting you points. I think he's going to be a good fit and a good uh what's it called? A good second teammate to Cade Cunningham. And again, like I said, I think Jabari Smith and Cade Cunningham, that's gonna be a great group. So I got Jabari Smith going at 5.
Okay, you said too good to pass up on, and I think earlier, and I think that's Jordan Ivy. I see the Pistons going with Jordan Ivy, at the 5 spot if the Kings take Ben. Ivy, super athlete, probably a top 2 athlete in this draft. He's aggressive at the rim. He led the best offense in the NCAA. He's decent from deep. I think he can improve. He averaged 1.8 a game last year at 35%, but he improved drastically from freshman year. So he's improving. Questionable defense that probably could get better, but he played a lot of off ball at Purdue. I forgot the white point guard they had running that offense, but
Oh yeah,
Kate
the one with the
Cunningham,
hair, right?
yeah, that
Yeah.
guy, he was
Edwards
all
I
right.
think it was what, Chase Edwards?
Yeah,
I
something
could be
like that.
wrong.
So I think Cade Cunningham, he's probably gonna be running the offense there in Detroit. But Ivy 6'4", you find your backcourt, you still got Sadiq Bey, Jeremy Grant's probably gone, but you can start building something.
Yeah, no, I like that. Jaden Ivey, I think, or it's not Chase Edwards, but Jaden Ivey, I think he's going to be a good fit. And again, like I said, he's one of the top guards in this year's draft, so it's hard to pass up on that. Like I said, I think just because Jabari Smith does fall to that 5 position for me, I think that's why you've got to pick somebody like that. But of course, like I said, Jaden Ivey. And that's the thing too is that I can't see the Pistons going back to back years drafting guard. That's just in my opinion. I think they're going to try getting a little more depth, and that's why I've got them going with Jabari Smith. But of course, like I said, I mean, you're not losing anything with Jaden Ivey. I think Jaden Ivey is going to be a great player. He's going to have that experience at Purdue. Again, another Big Ten school that I think is getting a little bit slept on, and yeah, I think that's going to be the best fit for him. All right, so let's go to 6. 6 is Indiana, and again, like I said, this is or not as I said, as you said, this is one of those spots where I think you can see a trade happening. I think this is where you might see something else happen to kind of shake up the draft a little bit. But then this is where I step in. I say Jaden Ivey steps in right here at Indiana. I think that's going to be a good fit for him. I think he's going to be able to work really well and especially build his presence there. Purdue's an Indiana school, being able to play for the Indiana Pacers and really kind
Okay.
of build that strong home and feel. I know. I mean, as a Suns fan, I remember back in the day when they drafted DeAndre Ayton, kind of just like pressing that just whole idea of Arizona raised him, not like he went to school here, but the high school here, went to college here, and now he's playing in the professionals here. I mean, I don't know exactly where Jaden Ivey went to high school. I'd have to look that up. But again, Purdue, Indiana, I think that's a solid fit right there.
Okay, so our top 6 players, Cade, we're lined up. I got Keegan Murray going to the Pacers, so we both have the same players going off the board. Keegan Murray, Jabari, little bit different spots, but we got the top 6 players. I'm going Keegan Murray at 6. Pacers win now mode. They're gonna get Keegan Murray. He's 22. He's older. He's not one of these 18-year-old, 19-year-old prospects. So you kind of know what you're gonna get. Massive improvement from freshman to sophomore year. Averaged 7 points per game freshman year. Came out of nowhere, 23 points per game. Um, Not the best ball handler, but he's great around the rim. He's pretty good in the post for his size, but he can stretch the floor. Reliable jump shot. He can shoot it from deep. Um, a little bit of bust. I'm gonna sprinkle the word bust a little bit in there. I'm not the biggest fan of Keegan Murray. I just think he's a little bit old. Can't really dribble too much. Maybe a little slow spot up shot, but maybe he'll fit over there with um, the Pacers.
No, I agree with that. The whole idea of it possibly being a bust, because I mean, you look back at what was this a year ago, we had Luke Garza being drafted by the I think it was by the Pistons. He wasn't one of the top draft picks, but I mean, he was looked as one of the top NBA or not NBA, college basketball players when he was back at Iowa. And of course, you see what he's done in the NBA; it's virtually nothing. So yeah, I could definitely understand where you're coming from. Obviously, the similarities between the two are pretty close. So again, but then again, like I said, I think Keegan Murray he's going to be a good fit wherever he goes, especially if he goes to a place where he's going to be getting those minutes. But of course, like I said at the beginning, I feel like there's a lot of possibilities of there being busts around here. But yeah, I'll let you go. We're at 7 now, right? So we're with the
Okay,
Blazers.
we're at Portland. I mentioned it earlier in the show. New GM. It's his first year. Does he have the balls to trade Damian Lillard in his first offseason? I don't know. I'm not sure. Okay, do you think he does? I think he has to.
Shoot, I don't know because it's obviously the fans of Portland love Dame Lillard, and I don't think that he's going to get a good look if he trades Dame away pretty much right off the bat. I understand what you're saying though because I mean, in a sense, the way I look at it is back in the Last Dance when geez, you know who I'm talking about, the Bulls GM. He was at that point
Kraus.
where Kraus, he just wanted to come in and change everything was done around there, and I feel like again, it just that's not the way that I think Portland's new GM is going to come in. But I do think he's going to try shaking things up a little bit. I think he's going to go with the guy that hasn't played. He didn't play last year, but I'm going with where's his name? There we go. I hope I'm saying it right. Shadon Sharp
Hey,
as his
hey,
pick.
Kate, that's who I got going 7 too. I love it.
Hey, look at that. We got a lot of things lined up today. But yeah, I think, again, like I said, I think it's that new GM mentality, kind of taking that risk, going with a guy that might be overlooked, but at the same time, might be a guy that really does pay off at the NBA level. And of course, he went to a place like Kentucky, didn't necessarily play there, but went to a place like Kentucky where, Coach Calipari has been known to, all right, time in and time out, proven that he is coaching NBA level talent. So I think this is a guy that again, with the new GM in Portland, I think you can definitely see going to the Portland Trailblazers.
Yeah, I mean, I do think he is gonna end up trading Lillard because I just don't think they'll be able to bring in anyone that can help them contend against the Clippers, Lakers, Warriors in the West, Nuggets. So I do think Lillard is going to get dealt, and they're going to draft someone with this 7 pick. And I like you said, I agree with you. I think it's going to be Shaden Sharp, probably the biggest toss up in the draft. He could be a future superstar. He could be a complete bust. There's no college tape on this kid. We only got a high school tape. But he was a 5-star recruit, number one high school recruit. He sat out because of eligibility reasons. And apparently he's killing the draft workout. So I think Portland takes a flyer with this kid, and just hits the reset button. They got Anthony Simmons. Maybe Sharp turns out to be, the next Kobe Bryant, next high school superstar.
You never know.
And whoever else they got, Josh Hart. I don't know. I don't really know who else Portland got over there, but I think they're going to hit reset and go with Sharp. I like it, Cade.
Exactly. All right, let's hit. Or also, I do want to point out something real quick. Jay Kings Pacers getting a trade. I think it's a possibility. The reason I veto that is the fact that Indiana would have to have their eyes on a guy that is projected to go top 5 without a doubt. And I don't know if Indiana is in that position to really do that. Like I said, I think you go with a guy like Jaden Ivey. Again, even then, if Jaden Ivey goes ahead and goes in the top 5, my guess is that if Jaden Ivey goes in the top 5, Ben Matherin's going to fall. And even then, I think Ben Matherin's a good fit for a place like Indiana. So again, like I said, I don't see it unless, again, the Kings are looking to try finding another player off of Indiana's team. And but again, I just don't see that happening. So
So
yeah,
I,
okay,
I
let's go
do
to
see it
eighth.
happening. Let me hop in real quick. I think there's a
Okay,
real
yes, yeah.
possibility. I think the Pacers. I think we could see a Malcolm Brogdon deal for that 4 pick. Malcolm Brogdon high. Maybe he's what top 10 shooting guard in the league, Kate. I don't know, but you put him with Fox, Davian Mitchell. I think there could be something there, and then the Pacers get Jaden Ivey at the 4. I do think that there's something there.
And that's the thing is that they've obviously had talks in the past. I mean, we saw the
Oh,
Pacers
we
and
we saw
Kings.
the
Yeah, I
yeah,
was
we
say,
saw them. Yeah.
I mean, we talked about it earlier this year. I mean, they've had their trade conversations in the past. Again, like I said, I don't know. I just think the draft kind of brings in some differences. But again, I'm not necessarily ruling it out completely, but I just don't necessarily see it happening, especially since both the Kings and the Pacers are go 2-6 pretty much. I mean, that's so close that it's again, I
Yeah.
just don't see it happening as much. Maybe later on in the draft, but I just not at first. But yeah, okay, let's go 8. And I think honestly, you look at the 8th overall pick, and this is going to be a really confusing one for New Orleans. As you mentioned, it's a possibility that they could trade it away. And I think this is the team that would do it because you have an 8th seed in this last year's playoffs. Put up a little fight against the Suns. And then again, like I said, you just look at those top 10 or the top few picks left after that. And you could find somebody good there, but realistically, I mean, again, it's a very much hit or miss type thing. So again, like I said, I could definitely see New Orleans trading this pick, and this is kind of where it gets tricky too. In this situation, where do you think they would go? Or what position or what direction would they go in? Would they try finding a guard to fit with CJ McCollum? Would they try looking at the forward position and whatnot? If Zion decides to not pick up the basketball shoes and play again with the New Orleans Pelicans, do they try finding a better big man to kind of overpower Valanciunas? I mean, I just don't know realistically the direction they'll go in. So I'm gonna play it safe. I think they're gonna go with another forward. I think they're gonna go with the guy from Duke, kind of balance out those positions with Zion, and of course, I think again get that chemistry going. So I think they're going to go AJ Griffin with
AJ
this one. I
Griffin.
think he's going to be. Is that what you're thinking?
I have them trading the pick, but I have AJ going here at 8.
At the 8th? Okay. See, look,
Yeah.
damn, we're on a roll today. Jesus. But yeah, no, I think, again, like I said, I think AJ Griffin, again, you're bringing in a guy that's going to have experience playing under Coach K. He was a player on a team that did do pretty good going into the Final Four. He was a reliable player right behind Paolo Blanchero. So again, like I said, I think AJ Griffin's a possibility at getting a spot as that number 8th pick this year's.
So I do think that they're going to trade this pick. I think the Pistons and the Pelicans are going to end up doing a little deal, and I see Jeremy Grant going to New Orleans, kind of fitting in with that 3 and D role that they need. They got CJ. He doesn't play that much defense. Zion down low. Bi doesn't play much defense. We saw Jeremy Grant play as like a fourth option on the Nuggets. He was completely fine doing that. I think Jeremy Grant fits in well for the Pelicans, and I think the Pistons take AJ Griffin. 45% from three. He can he can dribble, he can play off the dribble, he can play defense for them, and I see him kind of running maybe that second unit behind Kade and whoever they take at that 5 spot. So I see AJ Griffin to the Pistons in my trade.
All right, yeah, like I think that's a solid pick. I think again, like I said, having a guy that's going to be able to just again, like I said, I just don't see it happening with New Orleans in that 8th pick. I think it's definitely going to be a position where they're going to trade that away. But let's go 9 now. San Antonio Spurs. Again, this is kind of an interesting position, but at the same time, I think it could be a very interesting one as well. Danny, I'll let you go first this time. Let's see who
Spurs
you
kind
got.
of an interesting team. I don't really know what they want to where they're going if they want to go point guard because they got their 2 wings. They got Keldon and DeJounte Murray, 2 solid wings. So I don't know if they want to go point guard. I know they got Lonnie Walker there, but I'm gonna say they're going. They're just gonna fill out the roles on this team, and I see them going Mark Williams, the Duke center, 72% from the free throw line, 7'7" wingspan, average 2.8 blocks per game. He's not gonna get you 15 points per game in the NBA. He's a 10 and 10 guy with 2 blocks. He's a defensive big man, true center. He can match up against Gobert, Jokic, the bigs in the West. And I kind of think the Spurs kind of just build around their wings and fill out roles. Podol's an unrestricted free agent next year, so I see Mark Williams kind of being the next center up.
Yeah, I do like the fact that they're going to go with the center. I think that's going to be the best chance for them. And I'm not looking at this draft class, and there's not really many great centers at this position. I do like the pick of Mark Williams. I don't know if I really am ready to go in that direction. I think they're going to go with the guy from Memphis. Let me get his name real quick. Shoot,
Duran,
yeah, Duran. I
Jalen
think
Duran.
he's going to be a decent pick.
Yeah.
And I,
Okay. So you have him going center as well.
Yeah, and I think that just
Okay.
it just seems the most fitting for that team. I think again, like I said, going center is going to be the best way. And the only reason I'm going Durant over Williams is just I feel like he's going to be a little bit more of a physical guy. I think he's going to be kind of proving a little bit more in the set. Or I think he's more NBA built. That's pretty much what I'm trying to say.
He is a big body. He kind of bullied Chet in that Memphis Gonzaga game. I'm not gonna forget that.
Exactly, and I think it's a guy that the Spurs need. So yeah, I got Jalen Duran going right there. I think it's going to be a good fit for the San Antonio Spurs. All right, Danny, I'll let you go with the last one. Washington Wizards at 10. Who do you think they're going with?
Well, I think I'm gonna say they're gonna keep the pick. I don't know what they're doing with Beal and KP if they're gonna trade this pick and try and get another veteran, or if Beal's just gonna demand out. So I think Beal is gonna demand out, and I think they're gonna have to take someone at this 10 spot. And I see them going Johnny Davis, Beal out of the picture. You slide Johnny Davis in, a solid number 2 to replace Beal as your hopefully your leading scorer in the future. Insane improvement from Davis's freshman campaign to his sophomore campaign at Wisconsin. He averaged 7 points per game, went to 19, took them to the tournament. I know they lost to I think it was Miami, I think so, in the tournament. But I mean, he had a 37-point game, 14 rebound game versus Purdue in a crazy upset earlier in the year. This guy's just a bucket getter, and I see Washington taking a flyer on Davis.
I like that. I just think Johnny Davis is going to fall right out of the top 10 for me. I could see him maybe going number 11 or 12. I could see him going number 12 to Oklahoma City. I think Washington's going to play it the way that they're not going to lose Beal. I'm not saying that that's going to happen. I do agree. I think Beal's going to want an opportunity to get out of Washington. but I think Washington's kind of holding on to as much hope as they can that they're going to keep him. And I think they're going to go with a guy that's proven himself again, another Big Ten guy. I've said a lot about the Big Ten in uh, this mock draft so far. But I think you're going to go with a guy like EJ Liddell. I think he's proven time in and time out that he's going to be a reliable player that has experience at the college level and that it's going to actually prove himself going into the NBA. And I mean, 19.4 points per game at Ohio State, 7.9 rebounds. I mean, those are two solid stats right there for a guy that's again a power forward. So again, like I said, I think EJ Liddell is going to be the best pick for Washington, given that they don't want to get rid of Bradley Beal yet.
Fair enough, fair enough. A little undersized, but I like some EJ.
I was gonna say, I think
Yeah.
I think his stats show it. And again, like I said, I think the way that these Big Ten teams played, I mean, they did fall off a little bit, but as I think who was it? Jay said it. I like the way he said it. They just keep getting stronger and stronger. The Big Ten is going to continue to push themselves in the right direction with basketball, and I think that EJ Liddell is going to be that next big player that comes out of it comes out of Ohio State and proves himself. So yeah, I mean, I feel like that's a solid top 10 in itself. You had a good top 10 there. You got any more thoughts on the draft itself in general?
I think we knocked it out. I mean, like I said, I think there's going to be a lot of trades. And I'm excited to see what goes down because I think after we see this draft, we'll kind of know what teams are going to do in free agency. So I'm really excited for this draft this Thursday, right, Cade? This
Yeah,
Thursday, this
Thursday. I think
Wednesday.
it's at 5 o'clock, something like
Yeah.
that. They always got prime time. So yeah, but this Thursday, um, Orlando's on the clock already. So we'll just have to see how they go. But we'll switch subjects. Obviously, of course, NBA Finals finishing up. We haven't done Fit of the Week in a while. So, I think it's a good opportunity to kind of bring it back, but change it up a little bit, do Fit of the Finals instead. Kind of knock down what we thought were the best fits of the NBA Finals. And Danny, I will let you go first this time. Let's see what
There
you
was
got.
I didn't know if I wanted to go Toscano Anderson or Jalen Brown. Both of these guys were kind of killing it in the in the hallways. But Cade, I gotta say, I think this finals was a little disappointing out of the fits. What do you think?
No, I agree. I think there were. I mean, you could maybe argue Jason Tatum has kind of been there on the fits or whatnot, but
Yeah,
he wasn't bringing it too much.
a lot of
Steph
basic
Curry,
outfits.
yeah, I was gonna say I'll say that Steph Curry, even Draymond Green, two guys that really don't put too much effort into their fits. I mean, they're not bad, just not great. Clay, you never hear anything about his fits. Outside of Jalen Brown and Jason Tatum on the entire Celtics roster, you don't really hear much there either.
Seriously.
So yeah, I wasn't a big fit finals, but there are still some good ones. So yeah, you're going Juan Toscano Anderson for yours.
Yes, sir.
All right, I like that. And like I said, I said it already. Out of the Celtics, I think Jason Tatum. I mean, he's been putting together good fits for the entirety of the season. I will say, I think his are a little bit hit or miss sometimes. Sometimes he'll kind of tone it down, and those don't necessarily look the best. But I'll go with one in particular. Let's see. This was back way early on. This was probably game 2 or something. He got the jacket with Kobe with the finals trophy and MJ with the finals trophy, holding up the 4. On the jacket, he's got the Paisley shorts, the trophy room Jordan 1s, which I think are a very, very nice
Ooh.
fit. So I got to go Jason
Okay.
Tatum on that
I
one.
was gonna pick a Jason Tatum fit, and then I saw that suit he was wearing, and I was like, I just can't pick Jason Tatum after I see that suit. I just sent it to
Yeah,
you.
yeah, I was gonna say I'm not a fan of that suit. I'm not necessarily saying that like I bet you could do something with that suit, but I think
Nah,
it's
nah,
just the
nah,
way.
nah.
I think so. I think the fact that Jason Tatum's using it as his focal point and his centerpiece. That's the reason I don't like it. But I think if you give that suit to a guy like Jordan Clarkson, I think he's gonna do a little more with it, or at least something similar to Jordan Clarkson. I think he's gonna do a little more.
All right, yeah, fair enough. I'm gonna shout out my boy Juan.
Okay, I like that. Which one? Wait, hold up. Which one are you going with? Are you going with the one where he's rocking the jeans, the coastal dunks, and the kind of like I don't know
I'll go the
sunset shirt?
first one. Purple pants, hoodie, and some Jordan 1 lows.
Oh, okay, I like that. All right, well then, obviously, of course, as usual, hop on our socials, Instagram, Twitter at 94 Feet Show to tag along with that. Vote on who you think had the best fit of the week. And obviously, I mean, like I said, we'll kind of have to figure out something to go from here because with the NBA done, we'll have to see what fits are good. But Switching it up now to, again, sneakers again. We haven't talked about sneakers in a long time. But again, just what were the best sneakers out of the NBA Finals, Danny? Again, I'll let you start. I don't think we're gonna have any real set way of going about this. I just want to hear what you're saying.
Kate, I'm gonna be honest, Kate. I really, looking back at it, not too many things stood out to me. I saw a lot of Kobe's this year.
Mhm.
Kobe 4 Protos. I know they're getting retroed a lot now, but I saw a lot of Kobe's on feet. Did you have any sneakers that just were in your memory? I can't recall any sneakers that stood out to me.
All right, so there are two in particular. One is Curry's purple shoe that he wore
Okay,
for the
I
last
saw
5
that.
games, but that makes more sense because I mean when he had that streak going on with them, I mean obviously of course you're going to start seeing a little bit more. There's nothing special about the shoe other than they're just all purple. A nice shade of purple, I'll give you that one, but
It is clean.
exactly, like, it's good, and, for a guy like Curry, who I don't think really puts together the best shoes or signature shoes with Under Armour, I thought they did a good job. The only other one that really stood out to me that I thought was really interesting was Jason Tatum, bringing out the, uh, Air Jordan 36 in game 2. It was, let's see who the collaboration was, Melody, I'm not gonna try pronouncing that last name, or whatever it is. But I mean, it's really interesting. I mean, you got a bunch of different reptile kind of skins on the side of it. I'm not sure if they're all snakes or whatnot. It looks like they're all snakes, but honestly, I think that's the best looking shoe out of this year's finals. It's, I mean,
Wow, a
Air Jordan
36.
36.
Okay.
I'm not a huge fan of the 36 silhouette. I think they're a really good performance sneaker for basketball. But
Yeah.
again, you look at the way this is set up, I think it's a great looking shoe.
Ooh, I just looked it up, Cade. That's a beautiful shoe.
Yeah. No, I think, I mean, again, like you said, other than like the Kobe's and whatnot that you saw a lot of, which I mean makes sense. You got Jason Tatum, who's a big Kobe fan, even though he is rocking with Jordan for the finals. You got Jalen Brown wearing a lot of the Jordans as well, but or Kobe's, not Jordans. But like I said, I think again the shoe of the finals would have to be those Air Jordan 36 collabs that were also the player exclusives. I think those are just the best ones out there.
Can't disagree with that.
Exactly. All right, you got anything to wrap up with, Danny?
I think that's it. Free agency starting next week, Cade. I can't wait for that.
Oh, free agency is going to be fantastic. I'm so looking forward to that. That's going to be, yeah, it's, hey, I mean, we already got the talks going for free agency and it's looking
KD to the
fantastic.
Lakers? KD to the Lakers or what?
Oh God, I was going to say there's a lot. I mean, you look, Kyrie possibly to the Lakers. You never
Yeah.
know. Shoot. All right. But that'll do it for today's show. Check out all that stuff on our socials at 94 Feet Show on Twitter, Instagram, TikTok. We'll have a lot of that stuff there. Fit of the week, or in this case, fit of the finals. Go vote on those socials. Check out the shoes we were talking about on those socials. I'll make sure to throw those on there as well. And of course, we are going back to a little bit of a normal schedule, not doing the finals pre-games anymore. So again, like I said, just kind of keep tuning in. We'll keep you guys updated on when we do our shows, and we'll see you next time. Have a great night, everybody.